Hi, it's Emily. Today we're going to talk about crescendo and decrescendo. So a crescendo is when you start to play softly and then you play louder and louder. And a decrescendo is the opposite. So you start loud, you play loud, and then you play softer and softer. And it's a gradual thing. Some people have asked us how to practice that. So the first thing would be to have a good basic sound. So let's say a mezzo forte, middle, a dynamic, and that you're comfortable with your sound pretty much everywhere. And once you have that, then the next step would be to practice forte and piano without doing the crescendo, decrescendo, just being able to do a forte and a piano. So there's different ways to practice that. You can practice a sound exercise that goes by semitone and just repeat it once forte, once piano. So let's say I do B flat, forte, and then piano, and then I go B flat, A, forte, and then piano. We have a video that explains it all, but I'll do a couple here. So one forte, one piano. When you play forte, you need more air, more volume. So you need to open the mouth a bit more and let it out so that the air goes in the same spot as when you play piano, where you have less air, but you need to have good air speed and close the hole a little bit so the air hits the right spot so that the intonation doesn't become flat. Because when you play loud, the flute tends to play sharper, and when you play soft, the flute tends to play a bit flat, to be a bit flat. So you can also use a tuner to practice that. So I think I was at A or A flat. I'll go back from A flat and I'll do the same exercise. Look at my tuner. I'll try to keep the arrow in the middle as much as possible. So that's the exercise. So this way you can practice forte and piano. It's a good idea to understand how to affect the intonation on your flute. So how to make it sharp and how to make it flat. And so sometimes what I do is I take a couple of notes and I just play them in the middle, bring them too sharp, then bring them too flat, and then go back to the middle. So I'll do that with a G. And then a D. A B. You can practice it on all the notes if you want to, or what I sometimes do is that I use a scale that I'm working for that day, and I take the notes of the arpeggio of that scale and I work this intonation exercise on those notes. So by doing that, you understand how to counteract the natural effect that dynamics have on your intonation. So there's different ways to change the intonation on the flute. It's about sending the air in a different spot, so you can basically, you could just do this and go move your head. Usually it's not taught that way because it kind of affects the timbre of the sound. You could also just roll in and out, but you lose a little bit of control with that. So you can also use your mouth going this way. It changes the angle. By making it very loose and bring it back a bit more tight. I don't like the word tight, but you should really try things. And personally, I think sometimes it's a little bit of everything for me. And also, I would prefer to maybe do turn out my flute a little bit if it's really too flat instead of playing really flat, even though it might affect my sound. It's all a choice and a compromise sometimes. But practicing it and trying to feel how it's good, how the sound stays the same, and you have control over the intonation is a good thing. Once you have all that, then you can start working on crescendo and decrescendo, and you can use the same notes that you used to work on the intonation by itself, and just do that. Using the tuner is a good thing, so you can start piano, let's say on a G, go forte gradually, and then go back down gradually to piano. So you see, for me, the decrescendo is a bit more difficult. It's always like that when I work. And when I do it in an exercise, I can't say that it's really beautiful, but I see that it really helps in the repertoire after. So it's all about working. It's not always the prettiest, but it's okay because that's what gives you more tools to be expressive once you play pieces later. So I'll do it again on a D. I'll do that again, but I'll only do the decrescendo because that's what I have more difficulty with. That was a bit better, but I think it could be longer. It ended with a S. But again, it doesn't matter that much because when you play for real, you have vibrato and you have all types of other things, and you'll use little tone colors that are gonna make a difference, you know? So it's about trying to push your limits, but it's not about making it perfectly because that's how you're gonna achieve perfect, by being imperfect and trying to get better and better. I don't know if that's clear or if it makes sense. It makes sense to me. So once you've practiced that, you can also practice it just with different notes. So you could go B, B flat, A, and you go back up, B flat, B. And you go crescendo, down, and decrescendo when you go back up. I'll show you. So like this. And then you start on B flat, you do the same motive. And then on A, can also do, so you can go down completely with that. You can do the second octave same way. On B flat. So on and so on. And when you go up, I do it the other way around. So I go B, C, C sharp, C, B, and then again and again. So I'll show you. And so on and so on. And I think the tuner is a good friend for that type of thing because it's so easy to just get sharp and flat. You know, when you play loud on the flute, it tends to get sharp, and when you play soft, it tends to get flat. So it's a good idea to be aware of that, and the tuner can help us stay aware of that because we can forget. Obviously, if you have a lot of trouble just playing loud and soft and that the tuner is making things impossible for you, just put it away. Even if you get a bit flat or a bit sharp for a little while, just while you're figuring it out, and once you're more comfortable, you can reintegrate it. It's totally fine. It's a process. It's not learning is not an on-off switch. It's a process, and you have to respect your own process. And sometimes you can't do everything at once, and it's totally fine. You can do some intonation work by itself, and then you can turn it off and just work on dynamics without thinking about the intonation if it's too much for now. And maybe in a month or in a year or whenever you're ready, you can add that. So don't feel rushed. Start with a good sound, then integrate dynamics that are just pure dynamics, forte, piano, and then integrate some work on your intonation, understanding how to get sharper and flatter, and then you can add those crescendo and decrescendo gradual things, and then you can put it in studies and repertoire and try to find in your repertoire little places where you can use it and practice it. And as I always say, listen to yourself, record yourself, or if you have a good teacher that can give you retraction, it's a very good thing. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you're interested in taking lessons with me, you can check in the description. If you liked the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.